All right, it's game day, Miami Dolphins fans. So that's what we've got on tap for today. Video with the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan. And like I said, it's Dolphins Raiders preseason week 2 preview. Just like last week, I'm going to give my top 3 things to keep an eye on in Saturday night game. And I know, just like last week, there are plenty more than 3 things that we need to keep our eye on. And that's exactly where you come in. So, what I want to do, I want to hear the top things that you're going to be keeping an eye on when the Dolphins take on the Raiders Saturday night. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you are subscribing. But let's jump right into it. Like I said last time, mine are in no particular order. Just want to throw out 3 of them. But the first one that I've got is right there, and it's opening running lanes for the running backs because Miami's running backs had absolutely nowhere to go last week against the Buccaneers. Outside of that 20-yard run by Myles Gaskin, and if you take away Skylar Thompson's rushing yards, I believe the team totaled about 5 total rushing yards. But here's the most miraculous thing of all of this. Somehow the play action passing game still worked. And typically, you need to at least be a threat to run the ball in order for play action passing to work. So I wouldn't imagine this play action success continuing if we don't see a sizable increase in the production that the Miami Dolphins get on the ground. And as we all know, that's got to start up front. It's got to start up front with the big guys. Now, I know last week against the Buccaneers, you're at a bit of a disadvantage. You're playing against one of the better defensive line units in the league. You're not at full strength because you don't have Connor Williams or Teron Armstead. But guess what? That's life sometimes. You play against good opponents. And guess what? Injuries can happen at any single time. And these guys that were playing last week, guys that are currently penciled in as backups, probably once week 1 starts, they could be thrown into the mix at any point in time because of these injuries. So regardless of which running back is running the ball for Miami, since who knows if we'll see Edmonds or Mostert tonight, as of recording this, no official word on who is and who is out. I would say Edmonds is 50-50 at best. I would say Mostert is probably a no to go on Saturday night. But we need to see lanes created where guys aren't consistently being hit in the backfield. So that's number 1 for me. Number 2, Channing Tindall. Tindall was one of my absolute favorite players to watch defensively last Saturday against the Bucs. He performed well in coverage. He was a sound tackler, very good tackling right away. No one got another yard after he touched him. He was playing up on the line of scrimmage in that zero blitz look. He dropped back into some spirals. And honestly, in not a huge amount of snaps, we saw the toolbox emptied. We saw exactly everything that he's capable of doing when he's on the football field. Now, this week, I want to see if they give him added playing time earlier in the game and exactly the roles that they're going to ask him to do. And on top of that, if he can once again perform and execute the task that he's asked to, and if he doesn't find himself getting lost in coverage like we saw a little bit in college, and if we don't see him missing a tackle, these are the exact steps of what we hope to see him do in preseason action. Like I said, he doesn't need to be the best player on the field every single snap that he's out there for. But if he can flash, and if he can play consistently, and if he's never seen as like a true liability, whether it's coverage or tackling or in a certain scheme that they're in, he's already way ahead of the curve of where a lot of 3rd-round draft picks would be. So keep your eye on number 51 when he's out there. Watch all the different ways that this defense is using him, and we'll check back in after the game in our post-game recap to see how everything went with Channing Tindall. But the 3rd one that I've got, and I've got it listed as wide receiver 5 and 6, because right now, if it's Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle, Cedric Wilson, Eric Ezukanma, as kind of like those top 4 Dolphins receivers that are guaranteed to make this team's final roster. I want to see if we can get another guy to emerge similarly to what we saw from Lynn Bowden last week in some actual in-game action. So we're looking at, it's Trent Sherfield, it's Braylon Sanders, it's Lynn Bowden, it's River Craycraft, Mohamed Sanu, and I'll throw Preston Williams in there since he's at least still on the roster. But I think Sherfield has that advantage at this point in regards to like joining Eric Ezukanma as that in that wide receiver 4 wide receiver battle. So if the Dolphins only keep 6 wide receivers, it's going to be a tight battle between Braylon Sanders, Lynn Bowden, and River Craycraft. And if you kind of stretch this out to see who's done what so far, it's Braylon Sanders that has the leg up based on training camp in general. The guy has been on the receiving end of numerous big plays. But Lynn Bowden has the leg up based on that in-game action with last week's touchdown, and then he had some nice production on a couple of other catches in that game as well. But you can't forget about River Craycraft either, because he's performed well in training camp practices, and he's got that history with Mike McDaniel as well. So there are just so many ways to look at and to monitor this battle. It would just be nice to see someone just emerge and dominate in a preseason game. Give that coaching staff just more confidence in the event something were to happen to the team's top guys, and we need to rely on this position's depth at some point during the regular season. Be nice to see someone emerge. And, I typically wouldn't do this, since end of the day, I want the best guy that's performed well in training camp in the game to emerge and get the spot. But I can't help but find myself continuing to root for Lynn Bowden and hope that he's that guy that emerges. Because think about it this way. If you can keep Sherfield and Bowden on the final 53-man roster, and then hopefully you can stash away a guy like Braylon Sanders on the practice squad, hope no one's able to claim him, I think that's how I would vote for this wide receiver position battle, basically, to work its way out. But that's the three things that I'm keeping my eye on for a Saturday night. I have quite a few honorable mention things that I'm going to be monitoring and keeping my eye on as well. But like I said, that is where you come into play. Drop the things that you'll be looking for in the comment section, and we'll see if anyone is mentioning the ones that I have opted to leave out of this video. But that's my time for today, Dolphins fans. Enjoy the game on Saturday night, and we will be back with a recap discussing everything Dolphins and Raiders. So until next time, Dolphins fans, fins up.